On Sunday against Minnesota, he completed just 2 of 7 attempts when targeting Odell Beckham. Now, Dan Orlovsky sounded out on this. He sounded alarm on this on NFL Live.
I did not like Baker Mayfield's eyes. This is a story that we know was a reality last year. Yeah. And I'm just letting you know, you got to nip it in the bud right now, because if they don't fix this, this is the second game back with Odell. And I'm telling you, there's 3 plays in this past weekend where he looks to Odell and will not get off of him. If that doesn't get fixed, it will continue to be a story moving forward.
Do you think this is a problem, the Odell-Baker connection?
No, like I just don't like it's like a narrative that Odell is like the bad guy. Like, I don't like this. Like, you look at that clip we just showed, Odell was wide open.
Right.
Put the ball on him. Like, eyes, no eyes, blind, whatever. Put the ball on him. That's what you get paid to do as a quarterback, is put the ball on a receiver, especially being that wide open. But I always say when it comes to Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns, they have everything. He has all the resources at his disposal. He has a great offensive line, 2 great running backs, defense that's really coming along. I've always said with Baker Mayfield, it's going to be about moments. Yes, he hasn't played well, but in order for him to compete with the Mahomes and Josh Allen and those guys, he's going to have to come through with great moments. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Listen, I said this last year on this very show. I said nobody does less with more than Baker Mayfield. And I say do this exercise all the time, right, as he wants to get paid as a franchise quarterback. I want the listeners and the viewers just to do the exercise. Name me the quarterbacks around this league that you can replace and the Cleveland Browns are worse, right? Because I can go to like 20. I go to like 20 quarterbacks before I get to Baker Mayfield. You can go Murray, Allen, Jackson,
Don't give me all
Herbert,
20 now.
Stafford.
We don't have enough time.
Listen, he's the 3rd best quarterback within the division. I'll take Joe Burrow with that team, and that team is better. Like, he's a limited player, right? So that's the thing. They went in spite of him, not because of him. That's always been the narrative. I understand that listen, like I always say all the time, more commercials than touchdown passes, man. That's just the truth. That's the harsh reality. That's why they're having a hard time paying him. Like, I know that was the narrative for a while in Dallas, but Dak has showed that he can't elevate the talent around him. You just ask him not to crash the car.
Yeah, and Lewis, the other part of this is we talked over and over again in the offseason about how he wanted to get paid, about how they wanted to decide whether or not they were going to give him a big new deal before the trade deadline. But based on how he's playing so far, how do you see that playing out?
Look, I think it's about managing expectations with Baker Mayfield. Look, he's a victim of where he was drafted overall. Look, when you're a first overall draft pick, you are expected, and people expect you to be the reason why you're winning. But they're not set up that way. This is not what their offense is designed to be. It's not supposed to be Baker drops back 45 times, scans the field like Patrick Mahomes, and everything that he does is lauded by everyone, and the reason why they win is because of his arm and his decision-making and his accuracy. That's not how they're set up. It doesn't run through him. So therefore, when you're trying to sign him to a long-term deal, you have to keep that in context. You're not going to value him the same way you value a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Now, that being said, open receivers in drop-back situations, catch and pass situations that are there for you to put the ball on them, you got to put the ball on them. Simple as that. So when those things are not happening, then, rightfully so, he should be scrutinized and he should be criticized. And if he's having those kind of moments where he's knocking in on Odell Beckham, not letting the offense work organically for him like it did last year when he wasn't there, then that's something that Kevin Stefanski, he and Odell need to work out. And they better get it worked out. Otherwise, the whole thing as far as whether or not you should sign him to a long-term extension is going to get thrown totally sideways. But I don't think we should ever have this idea that he's a franchise quarterback on the level that some of these other guys are, because he's not.
So, Lewis, I asked this question, right? We all know the line of average is if you're above Kirk Cousins, you're above average. If you're below him, then you're below average. Kirk Cousins, would you take Kirk Cousins or would you take Baker Mayfield?
Look, honestly, Kirk Cousins is someone who I have never really trusted in the same way that I would want to work with Baker Mayfield. It's a tough decision. I would probably still go with Baker. I think he'll play better.
This morning, Green Bay Packers reached agreement on a 1-year deal with former Cowboys linebacker Jalen Smith, who is reunited with the Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, who he worked with in Notre Dame. Matt LaFleur was on the Notre Dame coaching staff when Jalen Smith played there. Two have a very strong relationship. And Jalen Smith was talking to 3 different teams into the night last night. Made the decision to go to Green Bay on a 1-year deal. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys will be paying him the bulk of his money for this season, but the Packers add a linebacker at a position of need, and now they get some team speed. They've had some injuries on the defense this year, and they hope that the arrival of Jalen Smith will help elevate the Packers defense.
All right, absolutely could be a big move in Green Bay. Guys, this could be big. This could be big. So I want to get all of your reaction. D-Wood, what do you think about this?
Well, listen, I mean, for me, I think he does add a level of speed. He's not as fast as he used to, but if you look at the Green Bay Packers on defense, they lack playmakers, particularly in the inside and in the interior of that defense. So adding a guy like Jalen Smith would give them another playmaker on the interior of that defense.
Yeah, if he could even be close to what he used to be, this could be big for the Packers.
I mean, the guy was playing well. I don't know what the issue was in Dallas and why they get rid of him, especially understanding what the history of Van Der Esch's neck is. I know they're probably comfortable with Keanu Neal, but, from the Green Bay Packers standpoint, this gives them a guy that plays with his hair on fire, plays with a lot of speed, a lot of emotion. You need that at your middle linebacker, point, especially when teams think you're soft, especially don't know what his health issues is going forward. They needed a playmaker in the worst way.
Yeah, Dallas has been great, much better on defense this year. But Lewis, I mean, maybe they thought they could move on from him, and now Dallas's loss in some ways is Green Bay's gain.
Yeah, there's no question that Dallas thought they could move on with him, and when they were looking at the cap situation and what his cost was relative to his performance, especially coming up in 2022. They just didn't feel like it made sense for them, considering that Keanu Neal is someone who they really like, and Jabril Cox is going to start getting play time. So they liked where they were at in that situation. But one man's trash, another man's treasure. Green Bay needs speed at linebacker, in particular, someone to pair with somebody like Devondre Campbell. They need another corner as well. We don't know how long Jair Alexander is going to be playing. That's why we thought that would be a natural landing spot for Stephon Gilmore. So they needed inside backer speed and playmaking ability. They need another corner. They needed to continue to build out this defense to match what is obviously a lot of firepower on offense.
Adam, I'll go to you for the final word, because this could be a big move for Green Bay.
Well, here's a linebacker, a player that's overcome a lot of adversity during the course of his football career. And I think when you get released, cut mid-season, that puts a little chip on your shoulder. And I think Jalen Smith goes to Green Bay once again, trying to prove people wrong, trying to prove a point. He goes in there motivated. I think the Packers get a player with the right type of mindset right now who reunites with Matt LaFleur and gives them a chance to get even better on defense.
I couldn't agree more. It's like he might be feeling, I've been written off. Now I'm going to come in here and show the league exactly who I am.
And potentially a collision course. Listen, I remember going to get some coaches that thought I couldn't play. I remember Mike Nolan. Every time I hit Frank Gore, I went right to him to the point where he started turning his back and wouldn't even listen to me. I said, "You hear me, mother? You know what I'm talking about." You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're going to get, because eventually if they play in the playoff, it's going to get real. Yeah, I named names over here with Louis Riddick. He told me I couldn't play, man. And guess what? He unemployed and I'm working.
Bart, I know you hear me, Bart. That's what you told him, huh? I know you hear me.
Oh, yeah, you hear me. You can turn your back all you want. Man's trying to come blow in your ear like Lance Stevens. You hear me. Don't make me come over there.
The Lance Stevenson reference is something I did not expect coming into today. Let's talk Cleveland, fellas, shall we? Baker Mayfield.
It was just a question of how early in the season. And coming off a win and a performance like that on Sunday, Matt Nagy felt that this was the time to do that. Chicago rejoices. The Bears have a new starting quarterback. This is the quarterback that the Bears fans wanted to see. And Matt Nagy decided to hand off the future to the young quarterback and start the chain of events right now.
All right, I got a smirk fest going on here between D. Wood and Bart Scott. Bart, go ahead.
Come on, man. We all been there before. This ain't coming from Matt Nagy. This is coming from up top, man. They say, man, what the hell wrong with you? You embarrassing us every day on these damn press conferences. You sound like a fool, man. Go out there and put the kid in. The kid threw 17 times.